Hey, Paul, I've been watching this new show, Breaking Bad. Super good.
That's the dude from Malcolm in the Middle.
Yeah, man. You definitely got to check this one out.
All right, yeah, I'm catching up on Seinfeld right now. That'll be my next show for sure.
Cool. You won't be disappointed. I'm Devin.
And I'm Paul, and together we're Dads and Dice.
And like any good dads, we are behind the times. Our board game plays are no exception. This is our list of top 5 games new to me in 2023.
All right, so I'll start off our list here with my number 5 game, and this one was actually a huge surprise to me. I played it at BGG with Joe. This was Le Havre. Le Havre. And this one was actually, you weren't there when we got to play it. Luna got sick, you had to come back home. So we were just looking for some really good kind of 2-player games that we knew, because there's a lot of them that we wanted to play with you. So we were walking around and we saw it, and it's a Yui game that Joe knew. He said he hadn't played it in a while. He said it's a great 2-player game. So in this game, you have this little kind of boat track, and you're just alternating who's going, and you're going to go on a turn, you're going to place a resource, and then you're going to buy buildings. Those buildings are going to help you trade a resource for other things. Eventually you're going to be buying ships and sending your resources off, and it's just a really fun UE game that plays really well at 2 players, and honestly it just really surprised me. It was a really good one, and it's number 5 on my list.
Yeah, you guys said it's probably not one that's like my top game, but I do love UE games, right?
Yeah.
And it's your typical collect resources,
Yep.
spend them, right?
And what was really interesting about it was those resources, they really build up. So like at one point, you might be going for brick or whatever, but neither of us have gone for wood for like the last 3 turns. So you've got 10 wood sitting there, and it's like, I have to take that. So it's just really cool for my style of gameplay, where it's like call an audible in the middle of a game. I'm switching. I'm doing this. But yeah, so Le Havre, that is my number 5 game.
Okay, over to me for my number 5 game, and it is Lorenzo Il Magnifico. I think this is no surprise
Yeah.
to Paul whatsoever. We also got to play this one at BGG. Probably a similar theme for a lot of these, because it's a place we can try all kinds of different games. But for this one, this game is such a popular game, and for me, it did not disappoint. I know that you and Joe did not necessarily share the same experience I did, but man, I just couldn't. The game couldn't be beat for that weekend for sure. So in it, you are going to roll dice, and there is I believe it's orange, white, and black dice, and then they're set colors, and everybody uses those dice. So while there is like this rolling, that's it. That's all the luck there is, and then everybody has to work with this outcome. Sometimes you may roll high, sometimes you may roll low, and so you then use those dice to go up these 4 different towers, and depending on the tower you're going at, it's going to kind of build an engine in a different way, right? You can get green cards that let you just straight up build a production engine. You can get yellow cards that let you build kind of your trading engine. I trade this for that and that for this, and so on. Blue cards get to be kind of your rule breaker cheaters or whatnot, and I think it's just as you get more, they're worth more victory points, but you can build a whole bunch of blue cards and just have a whole bunch of discounted stuff, or, increased on your green, or whatever the case is. And then your purple is just kind of straight up victory points, right? You're going to go down that one and do all these other actions to dump into purple and get the victory points. But I just like the mechanic. You had one kind of idiot dummy worker that could go out, and you could have things that made your idiot dummy worker smarter, or I just really liked the game. I thought it was really tight. You have to really specialize and plan. That's something that's right up my alley. And yeah, so that was my number 5.
Yeah, when we were talking about it, I knew this game was going to be on your list. We haven't talked about what's on our list, but when we were saying, hey, let's make this, I knew this game was going to be on there. Not my favorite game. I do think it's a game. Not really my style, but I do think the more you play it, the more you will enjoy it, the better you'll be at it. Because like you said, it's an engine builder and you have to kind of know what works with what in order to really make that game work. So it's a game. I know you really enjoyed it, but that's the list.
Yeah, so that is our number 5s. Let's get on to the number 4s.
All right, my number 4 game. This was one that, when we first got this game, it was one that I was just like, whatever. This one is going to be in the coal pile soon. I've heard people talk about it, but it just does not appeal to me in the slightest. And that is Rococo. Rococo was a game that, like I said, when we saw it, we are like, making dresses for King Louis's ball? What is this? Like, how can you even make this enjoyable as a game? But when we actually played it, it is a deck builder with some area control, and that deck builder was just a blast. It did something really cool and different than other deck builders that I really enjoyed. And then you had all the decorations that you could place around the palace. You had to collect the different types of linen in order to make the different types of dresses. You could sell the dresses for money, or you could actually place them into the actual ball. And that was where that area control came in. At the end of the game, you could graduate those dresses up into the fireworks to get more end victory points. And for a theme that I could have cared nothing about, the theme absolutely drew me into this game. It was such a blast. And honestly, I really want to try out the deluxe version just for the fact that I'm so into it now. I just want it deluxeified.
Yeah, I think it was such a great game. Surprised us both so much, and you're right. I kind of went into it not really even knowing what to expect. The game completely blew me away. I'm so surprised that I hadn't heard more about it. I guess there probably was a hype at one point in time because it was enough to warrant kind of a second printing, deluxe edition or whatnot. But yeah, there was just so much to do, and it was so strategic. The way you had to get your yarn to build the dresses, the way that when you built the dresses, like, where are you actually going to go, right?
Yeah, in some spaces, like, guaranteed you would win this area, and some would get you a little extra bonus. So it was like, which one do I want?
Yeah, and it just, the way that stuff played onto each other, another one, I want to play at a higher player count. I think anything that has a little bit of area control like that, it would just amplify the game, make it more tense. But I thought the game was just really tight and really good. Fantastic pick. So on to my number 4 game. It is Deal with the Devil.
Ooh.
This is another one that I know is not Paul's favorite game. We played this one late at night.
It was right after Lorenzo, I think. No, it wasn't. It was not. It was close by.
Yes, and Paul was not ready for just how crunchy it was, right? When you see this board, the presence of this game is something. It is a 4-player only, slight deduction, but really it's just a Euro game is really what it comes down to. Getting resources, spending them for points, and then it's got some major penalties in it that you have to avoid in it. And all that stuff combined, I just really enjoyed. I say 4-player only, and that is why it's probably going to be a game that I won't get the chance to play a whole lot of. But man, I cannot say enough good things about the playthrough that I got. You, on your turn, you're actually one of like 4 characters, and you have these little chests, and somebody's the devil who starts with a bunch of resources. Somebody's a cultist.
All the souls, right?
And, or wants to get the souls. Right. Somebody is the cultist that has tainted souls that he wants to pass off to the devil and a few resources. The others are just basic townsfolk that hardly have anything, but they got their souls. And so you have this very interesting app-based trading mechanic that makes it where you never know whose little chest you're getting and what kind of trade you're getting. And so you've got cards you're drafting, and you're trying to build out these cards with the resources you have and the resources you trade for and the resources you want. And there's just so much to this game, and man, I really enjoyed my playthrough of it.
I am so surprised that that one is on your list. That is not one that I would have ever guessed. You're right. I did not enjoy that game. But I think the reason was I went into it not knowing this was a Euro. Everything that I've heard about this game is it's a hit and roll, it's a deduction game. And that's what I was expecting. I was not expecting to have to trade this to make my buildings, to make this stronger, to do this. I wanted to figure out who the devil was, and that's what I thought I was playing. Again, not a 3-hour heavy Euro. So I think knowing that, I might play it again, but it left a pretty sour taste in my mouth. Very surprised you picked that one.
Yeah, so that was number 4. Let's get to number 3.
All right, starting off with my top 3. This is a game that's been out for some time. You've actually played it quite a bit, and you introduced it to us again at BGG, and that is a PAX Premier 2nd Edition. I did not think I was going to like this game. I really didn't. The theme is about Afghan war and the British and the Russians like going in there and trying to control the region, and you fighting them off, and you're really kind of working for this area control. But it's got a really awesome like tableau builder mechanic that's going on, that you can, you know, play some of your meeples or some of your tokens on there and do those actions. It's got a really cool closed economy currency going on, and then the little card river that's sliding down. Just everything about it like really drew me in. And going back to themes, I didn't think that was one that I would care for, but it was just so awesome. It was really, really interesting, and it really drew me in, and I really felt like I was doing what the game was trying to get you to do.
Yeah, so it's really cool how that game is. It's purely a tactical game, right? There's very little long-term strategy. I mean, you can kind of plan for maybe the next dominance check that's going to happen, but you really have to just evaluate the actual map and the market state to see what you want to do. The way that you are going to actually be buying things off there, and knowing that, oh, okay, well, it puts more money on this that the next player can get, or these are going to slide down, making them more affordable, or there's just a whole lot of that you have to play with. And then, you know, all of that combined with what kind of dominance check are we going to have? Is it going to be successful? Is it going to fail? Right? Is this a game of area control, or is this a game of having the most pieces out there, and balancing those two things? Knowing when is the right time. I'm Russian. I'm supporting the Russian, but really that's going to give this player more points. So I think I'm going to switch to Afghan, start backing the Afghan, and maybe I can sneak it in, get a prize, and win out the Afghan with this player. Or just those kind of decisions it's so good, and there's honestly nothing like it.
And what was so awesome about it is that player interaction. It's super heavy because you and I were the same faction for pretty much the entire game. And there was a point where it was, I really want to switch because you and I are the same, but if I switch, it's really going to hurt me. So it's kind of like that cat and mouse, like who's going to make that move and who's going to start over basically and really try to take control of, you know, the faction that's not being used. And then I really like how the win condition, you know, it's once you're ahead 4 or 5 points. What is it? 5 points. Like that's super awesome because you don't want somebody to win 2 dominance checks in a row, or else you just give them the game. So there was a point again in our playthrough where Joe and I were like, we have to stop him. And that pretty much won me the game because we had to stop you. And that was when we had everything built out and it all got decimated, and then we just started over from there. So I don't know, it was a super awesome game. It was one that I went into not thinking I would enjoy very much, but I absolutely loved it.
So over to my number 3, and that is Alma Mater. This was one that we got in our initial haul video, and a lot of people said, hey, this is a really good game, right? Another one that the theme just kind of looked like,
Building a college out, getting some professors, building some knowledge.
But once we started playing it, I realized, wow, this is a very good game, right? You're having to get all of the different students. You're having to get the knowledge. The way the entire book track worked, where you wanted to have the highest, like, I can't remember what it was,
the
but like study
there,
or the study amount, so your books were worth the most, but you also were trying to sell books, and you had your little track that way, and you wanted a person to pay the most for the books.
And the way that the track changed in between rounds, where some colors were worth something more, and then the next round, if you sold them, these ones were worth more. Just that flow of going back and forth.
Yeah, man, I love this game. I can't wait to play it again. I know a lot of people talk about Coimbra,
Yep.
and it's pretty much the same type of game.
I think with just dice.
Yeah, and man, this game was completely fantastic. Can't wait to get to the table again. So that was number 3. Over to number 2.
All right, my number 2. This one is a game that I absolutely love to just bust out in the mornings, bust out late at night, just when I want a 15-minute game to kind of puzzle something out. This is Turing Machine. I absolutely love Turing Machine. This game, like I said, this is one that I can literally just bust out in the morning. I can have my breakfast, my cup of coffee, whatever it is, and just kind of figure it out. It's kind of like a Wordle kind of thing, right? You can change it every day. You can make it as difficult as you want. You can make it as easy as you want. At the end of the day, when I'm kind of burnt out from work and I don't want to watch TV, I don't want to hear anything, I just put my head down and I can just bust out a couple games of Turing Machine. The deduction in it is super awesome. The little cards that they have in there, super awesome. I don't know how they figured that out with matching these 3 up and having the check mark. Just everything about it works. And the fact that, again, it plays in under 15 minutes. It's a great solo. My wife and I play it a lot. We play it a little different than what the actual game says. We don't do it as a competition because the fun is figuring out the puzzle. And it's just a really good one. I've gotten to the table, I want to say at least 10, 15 times this year, and I've played it even more on BGA. So this is a game that, for me, it's just going to continue to hit. And like I said, it just plays super fast, and it really gives me that satisfaction of solving something.
Yeah, I'm not smart enough to understand how on earth those checker cards work and always work every time, but super cool thing that they definitely figured out. So over to my number 2, it is Orleans. Definitely probably the oldest game on this
on the list,
for sure. And this should come as no surprise. Altiplano is one of I think my top 5 games of all time, and this was kind of, I think, the foundation that it was really built on, right? It feels good. It is a feel-good bag builder to me, right? Quacks can be something that is just kind of a fun, you throw out there and do that, and okay, whatever. This is one that it feels good to really crunch out and build.
And it feels like you kind of have more control over it.
Yeah, you really can build out an engine within this bag and make sure that you're getting enough knights so you're pulling a bunch, or getting the farmers so you get the little bonus, and or make sure you're at least not getting it taken away from you, right? I can't even remember the name of them, but the ones that of course like to put out the little, they're the upgrade tokens, which then block out spots, which then make spots cheaper, right?
The blue one. Was it the blue ones?
The blue ones were the river ones,
Yeah.
But yes, man, this game, I completely love it.
The technology, the brown ones.
Yeah, that's it, the technology, right? Then it has all of that, and then it has the little board that you can kind of like travel on, and you're collecting little resources, which are just victory points. So you can go this whole route of, I'm just going to try and move around and build the little...
get some cheese.
Yeah, build the little developments while I get some cheese and wine along the way, right? There's so many different avenues. You have your little like actual upgrade tiles, which let you kind of specialize into something. And I've played it several different ways where I've tried to get different ones each time, so it feels like a different game. I just really enjoy this. You throw in geek bits, so it feels good pulling out of the bag, and this is a top tier game for me.
Yeah, bag builders are always a good time. You just love, trying to pull out whatever you can and then just trying to math it out. What I really like about Orleans is that you can leave some chips out there for the next round so that you can kind of plan, like, oh, I know next round I definitely need to move down the river or move down the road, and I only have 2 of these ones in there, so that one definitely needs to stay out here for this next time. It is a really fun game. It is one that I will play at any time. So yeah, I'm glad that one's on the list.
All right, and now let's get to number 1.
All right, my number 1 game, and honestly, this one should come as no surprise. I am super into the narrative of a game. I'm super into the theme of a game, and I want something that I can just sit down and play solo and finish within, 45 minutes to an hour. This game is Lands of Gowser. I absolutely love this one. This is one that I will literally leave set up on my table. It takes 5-10 minutes to set up. You have your little saved cards in there, and then it's just so fun. I love getting into this world and going with Bamir and going to see all his polecats and climbing up the mountain. And then, oh no, there's an earthquake, so what are we gonna do? And then I get lost in the forest and somehow I end up in jail, right? So at the end, you just have this entire story of this world that you are kind of creating and built upon. And I absolutely love it. Again, I get to sit down, I get to just relax, I get to put the music on in the background and just tune everything out and just go into Gowser and just be there.
Yeah, I've only actually had the initial playthrough of it and experience, but yes, it is a very good storytelling. It really incorporated your tabletop RPG into whatever, a 45, 60-minute experience, and I honestly like that. It's all very self-contained, so it's easy to drop in and out of. I could honestly join you with one of the playthroughs, jump into the story, have my own little thing to do, and then exit, not really having disrupted you.
Yeah, not at all.
One bit. It's an app-driven game that is done very well. The narrative is done very well, and it's very fun. You get in there, you experience, like you said, a quick story, and then you're out of there.
Yeah, it's an awesome one. I'm super glad that I was able to get it to the table. And I'm just going to keep on getting it to the table and just keep on getting lost in that world.
And over to my number 1. Also should be no surprise to Paul whatsoever. This is Barrage.
Yes.
We actually just got to play this game a month ago at BGG, and man, fantastic game.
Yeah.
There was so much to this game with so little actions that you really could do, right? So it's almost kind of a worker placement game where you have a whole group of workers. Can't remember exactly how many you have. You have 10 or so workers, and you really decide how many you're going to spend to do these various actions. Sometimes spending more meant it was stronger, or sometimes it was spending more because somebody did the action before you, and you now have to take a penalty kind of for that. And really, the whole way I'll call it the area control worked of building the dams, and you use the dam to go through I think it was the turbine into the generator or power storage. I don't think those are the exact names or whatnot. The whole game just flowed so well. The water would go through, and so one person would be kind of upstream using it here, but you could kind of reap the benefits down here. And it was a very tactical game that also had a very strategic planning component to it. The way the different workers worked, and you had, I can't remember, it was I'm going to call them the silver and the brown. It was excavators and something. But you don't spin them and lose them forever. You actually put them on the time wheel. You're setting them to work on, this section of the dam, and after so much time, they're able to come back to you and work. And so this wheel would turn, and how was it you were going to advance that? Are you going to put several kind of wedges in there and then push the advancement hard? Or are you just going to kind of advance it a little bit, or just put a few out there and always kind of be churning through a few? So much to this game, and I completely loved it.
Yeah, this was one that actually really surprised me as well. It was one that I went into thinking, ooh, this might be a lot, right? I thought there was going to be a lot of area control and just a lot of kind of, just going on. But the way that it actually worked and the way that it flowed, it felt pretty natural. I've never built a dam, obviously, but it felt like, oh yeah, I need the excavator. Oh, I need to build a dam here. Oh, the turbine's going to go through here. The water is going to flow, and then it's going to come out there. It just goes downstream. It just made perfect sense. And like Devin said, he had a little whatever at the bottom corner of the board that he placed at the beginning of the game, and he was getting all of the water. He was just getting all the benefits that Joe and I had kind of gotten to the top. And it was like, oh yeah, I see exactly why he did that. That makes so much sense. So it was one that was a ton of fun, and definitely was close to making my list. I would say it was up there. It's definitely top 10. That was a really fun one. I would definitely play it again.
Yeah, and I think so much of it. A shout out to Joe at Board Games for Two. Did a phenomenal job teaching it. Had printed out these references.
Yep.
It was new to him as well. And so we all just went in on a very even playing field. And a lot of times when the three of us play games, because we have such wide play styles and really diversity of games that we like, it's hard to find one that we all just walk away loving. And we all had a blast in this game.
Yeah, so that was it. That was our new to me in 2023 games, our top 5. Honestly, there was a couple that probably could have made this list that just were barely, eked out by another one. But we played a lot of good old games this year. And that's the cool thing about board games is there's just so many games out there that we're not going to play all the new ones. We want to play some old ones. We want to hear those games that people are like, you need to try this and you need to do this. Those ones are just so fun to get to the table.
Honestly, surprising we didn't have any real crossovers, right? I was very close to having Rococo.
Yeah.
I can tell you if PAX was new to me in
that would've been on
2023, that'd probably be number 1 for me because I love that game.
Yeah.
But yeah, we somehow managed to nail
not do it.
10 games without any crossover. But yeah, we are the Dads and Dice. As always, please like, comment, and subscribe. All those things help us, help our channel grow. We'll see you on the next one.